Hello everyone. In this video, we're breaking down three common things men say that are actually patterns of subtle conditioning. Patterns that can influence how you see yourself, how you compare yourself to other women, and how you show up in relationships. Have you ever noticed subtle things that men say that leave you question yourself? On the surface, these statements might sound like harmless opinions, casual thoughts, or even compliments. Very often, they would be framed as compliments. But the truth is, when some men say certain things to you, they're often doing more than just sharing their opinions with you. They're trying to influence how you see yourself, how you compare yourself to other women, and even how you behave around them. And just to be clear, by the way, when I say conditioning, I mean I'm not talking about mind control or obvious manipulation. I mean being, guided into behaving a certain way to be easier, to be more impressive, more agreeable, more pickable, often without being asked directly. So let's get into the examples. And as you listen, don't focus too much on whether the statement is true or not, but pay attention to why it's being said to you in that moment. Example number one, talking poorly about women from his culture. Or rather, this is where you frame it as the exception. This first one is especially common in cross cultural or cross religious dating, and it's often missed because it feels like a compliment. When a man talks poorly about women from his own culture in front of you, he might say things such as, like, oh, women from my culture are such and such, and then fill the blank, really lazy, controlling, high maintenance, too dramatic, whatever. On the surface, it might seem like casual conversation or them just sharing their opinion, but in reality, what it does is that it frames you as the exception. You're not like those women, you're different, better, more desirable, and in a subtle way, you're being conditioned to see yourself through his lens. In contrast to other women, this is where you compare to them. And I think all of the examples will do that anyway, but yeah, it is basically indirectly telling you what they expect from you in terms of behavior and how you need to behave to be picked. So what not to need, what not to express. So yeah, don't fall for it. Pay attention to these things because it tells you a lot about what they want from you. Example number two, when he compares you to his ex. So he says things like, my ex was so crazy, or all my exes were like this. At first, it might sound like a warning, vulnerability, or even honesty. But very often, this is a way of setting the emotional rules before anything has even started. It quietly defines how you are supposed to behave. It plants the idea that strong emotions, well, in this scenario anyway, that strong emotions, needs, or boundaries might make you too much. And honestly, if someone genuinely believes that all women they date are crazy, why are they dating at all? Like, what outcome are they hoping for? For someone to come in, soothe them, regulate them, and make them feel secure without them doing the inner work first. Don't do this to yourself. It isn't about the ex, it's about preemptively shaping you. You can do better than that. The takeaway here is, I think that your behavior isn't or shouldn't be a continuation of someone else's story. So that to me shows one of two things: either they really want to manipulate you, which is what I'm kind of like what I'm trying to get at here, or that they just have not healed. They've not healed, and instead of doing the inner work and the healing outside a relationship, they're just waiting for someone else to do it for them or hoping for someone else to do it for them. So you can do better things with yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. Example number three, bringing money and independence into the conversation. So he might say things such as, like, I can't date someone who's not independent, or you need to focus on your career. Well, that seems fair. Sometimes it's used to shift responsibility onto you, make you feel like you're not enough, that you're worth, and that your worth is conditional. So I've personally had two experiences where men brought up how their previous partners were in relation to, again, finances. And one apparently had not achieved anything for herself on her own, and her dad gave a lot, and blah, blah, blah. And I personally see nothing wrong with that. But he seemed to think that hearing this would appeal to me at that moment. I've always been quite independent, but at that stage, on a subconscious level, I felt the need to prove that I could do X, Y, Z things on my own. And it got to a point where I couldn't even like receive help from my friends. Did not know how to do it, which I think was a cry for help, and it ended up doing more bad than it did good. But for a moment, obviously in his head, he was positioning me as better because he must have picked up on that. It did nothing for me because I didn't really like him, so we didn't really see each other after that. But that to me was kind of like very confusing because all it positioned me as like being approved of or like superior, it also put me off. And another example was one who complained about his girlfriend wanting gifts. Like, God forbid you give a woman anything more than you know what. Again, indirectly setting expectations for how you're supposed to behave in order to be approved of. The takeaway here would be that obviously you need to recognize the difference between healthy expectations and attempts to manipulate your self-image and like where your value sits. So next time you hear these lines, ask yourself, why does a grown man feel the need to tell you this in that scenario? Like, what is he to gain? Understanding the hidden meaning is the first step to protecting your energy, space, your peace, and creating relationships that truly serve you and are aligned with who you are. That's all from me for today. But feel free to share what you've noticed in the comments if you've ever picked up on this kind of behavior from anyone, whether that was on a date, in your daily life, in passing, or you know someone who has.